Now, usually, I try to make videos that inspire you to travel or chase your dreams, and I'd much rather you watch those. But I do realize that a lot of times chasing your dreams end up becoming a business. So I thought I'd lend a helping hand, or two.
Let's talk about stocks, baby. Okay. I think I've made some videos about stocks already, but just in case I missed anything, I'd just like to go over what I would call the other side of the stock world. Right? So when you purchase shares of a company, what are you really doing? Really quickly to get it out of the way, a lot of people think that they're contributing some money to a stock or to a company, I should say. So they imagine, all right, well, we love Coca-Cola. I'll buy a share for Coca-Cola, and Coca-Cola is going to use that money to do some amazing things. That's not what happens. An initial offering, okay, if the shares are initially issued to the market, yes, technically the company would be collecting money, but that's not where you and I would usually operate. You and I usually operate on the secondary market. So the shares been bought and someone's trying to release them because maybe they just don't want to have any more Coca-Cola shares. Whatever the reason is, usually we'd operate in the secondary market and Coca-Cola is not really receiving any money. Okay, that's mostly how the market works, at least for you and I, right? So what do you really want to consider when it comes to the stock market? Number one, capital gain. All right, so all that means is really just an increase in the value of the stock or the share that you've purchased. So let's say you purchase a share for $2 per share. If everything goes well, hopefully eventually it'll be $4 and you can sell it for $4 and make a $2 profit, or it can be $100. Who knows? You sit on it for long enough, you may see it quadruple or times 20, whatever that's called. It may happen, but at the same time you have to understand that you're taking a risk. There's a chance that you purchase that share for $2 and then there's no more company and it's worth zero. That's a reality. All right, you are a residual owner. It's not guaranteed that you'll be compensated for your investment. So that's something incredibly important to understand when it comes to stocks. All right. Also, what happens more commonly, as opposed to you losing everything, is that it will depreciate in value, and then you'll start panicking, and then you'll want to release it. So you'll purchase a share for, let's say, you can purchase 100 shares each for $50, right? $50 a share, so that means you spent $5,000. That's a lot of money. And let's say all of a sudden each share is only worth $25, right? So you've taken a $2,500 loss. And what do you decide to do? Well, you sell it, which guarantees the loss because you've lost half of the value of the share you bought. There's no capital gain; it's a depreciation in the value of that asset for you. So you've lost a whole lot of money. So it's something you always want to keep in mind is, for at least for me, I feel like a lot of people have a lot of knee-jerk reactions to the market, and I don't think that's an opinion that only I share. I think people that participate in the market realize that. And a very, very good book to read that I recommend to everyone is The Alchemy of Finance by George Soros, one of the most brilliant books I've ever read. I love the epilogue. I'm not into epilogues. I usually stop when the book ends, but I think George Soros is brilliant, and you can really tell the heart of the man in that book. The theory of reflexivity is very well explained, very, very thorough. I actually, for the fun of it, wrote a separate paper myself just to kind of know that I was that into the book. Just I wanted to write an essay on my own, just of what I thought of the book, and I'm probably never going to show it to anyone. It was just that good, is my point. And the epilogue just speaks to the humanity of the man and what he really believes of everything that's going on. But read the book and it'll explain to you, I guess, the knee-jerk reactions that we have in the market. So capital gain, be very, very careful with it. I would suggest I would assume that's most of the reason why people go purchase shares, just to purchase buy low and then sell high. So you purchase it for about $2 and you sell it for $10, hopefully, right? But the other thing that you want to consider when you purchase stocks. All right. Well, I should also write it down. So we spoke about capital gain, which is a key component in purchasing stocks. But we also said that you're not really contributing money to the company. A lot of people have that misconception that they're giving their money to the company whose shares it is that they're purchasing. That's usually not what happens. It's usually not what happens. I don't really have any room that's going to be aesthetically pleasing to me to write that down. So just remember that, especially when you purchase in the secondary market, which usually we would do. So if you're using TD Ameritrade or any of those other resources, don't get carried away thinking, I just gave Apple a bunch of money. No, you gave some other person that purchased Apple a bunch of money, and that person got tired of holding that share. So dividends, what are dividends? The company is going to earn money period to period. Okay, so they're going to have an income, revenue, you're going to subtract your expenses, and then whatever's left over after you're done paying everyone that needs to be paid is going to be your earnings, right? But as a shareholder, if you've purchased a share in the company, the decision of management could be to reward you for your faith, for your good faith, all right? Because you are invested in the success of the company. You're putting your money where your mouth is, all right? So you talk about this company all the time, and you say how much you believe in them, and you decide to put your money where your mouth is, and you purchase the share, right? So you deserve a reward for that from time to time. And a dividend is really just the way the company shares in its success with shareholders. Very simple. So you may get maybe biannually. It's usually a percentage of the share price. So, and it's not a lot, all right? It's usually not a lot. That's one thing I do want to emphasize. But you may get $2 here per share. So if you own 1,000 shares, yes, it may add up. But if you only own 1 or 2 shares, money's relative, but it's only going to take you so far, right? But dividends are a big part of the reason why people do purchase stocks. So that's very, very important. But at the same time, I think it's worth mentioning, I'm not good at making these brackets. That's the ugliest bracket, but this is all a risk. You're not guaranteed. Just because you go into the game and you put your big boy pants on does not mean that you're going to increase the value. Your share is going to increase in value, or you're going to be paid any dividends. You may not see any dividends for the entire time that you're actually holding the share. It's very, very possible. Very, very possible. Okay, this is optional. It's not something that the company's obligated to do to share in their success with you. So one thing I do want to emphasize, because again, I spoke about the knee-jerk reaction to the market, and a good book to segue into my next point would be The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. I think on the cover of it, it still says that it's a book that Warren Buffett reads and really holds in high regard, at least Benjamin Graham himself, which is a ringing endorsement and probably a very good way to sell books, and they're probably never going to take that off. But besides the point, one thing you always want to consider is you actually really need to know the industry that you're in. Don't just spend your money because you need to spend your money and keep it somewhere. Understand the industry, that's for one. Understand the nature of the market that your industry is participating in, which is more difficult than anything else, right? Because how can you really predict human behavior? Economists don't do it right, in my opinion, ever. Except for maybe Adam Smith. I think he hit it on the head. But everyone else is really just all conjecture. And trust me, I'm thinking of the greatest ones that have ever lived. There's no way to really predict what's going to happen. So one thing I would definitely emphasize, because you can't get away from knowing your market and knowing your industry, but also the management team. If you don't know anything else, make sure you trust the management team and look into the management team of whatever company you're invested in. For example, for me, Elon Musk, I don't care what he does, what he's interested in, I'm going to walk with that man through fire. So if I was ever going to put my money somewhere and I know that Elon Musk is working on a project and he's put a team together, you don't need to tell me anything else. I'm following him. Okay, that's if I had disposable income, which I do not. So this is sort of a void argument. But my point, okay, so know the management team, because the success of a company really has to do with whoever's in charge, i.e. Apple. All right, so Steve Jobs leaves. Not so good. Steve Jobs comes back. Everything is amazing, right? So very, very important. And also participate in the ownership of the company, because you've purchased the share, so you have a claim to the success of the company. The reason they're giving you dividends is because you are a part of that success. Do not be a passive owner of any company. Keep up with the things that your company is doing, right? So there's something called a proxy vote. That's actually important. So I'm gonna write that down. Time for change of color. The proxy vote. So this again, guys, we're just having a random conversation about stocks, just things that I think people should know and consider, or at least understand if you're going to be in the stock game, right? So proxy vote. What is a proxy vote? It's a way for you. It's a vote. All right, almost the same idea of a democratic system. A lot of little minute differences, I guess I could say. I should at least mention, but overall, what you're doing is participating in the selection of management, or big major decisions. And again, major decisions, usually you'll know, okay, this person wants to take the company this way, this other person has this other philosophy, I vote for this person. So a proxy vote, because you may own a company all the way in Wyoming, but you live all the way in Madagascar, Africa, whatever, right? So you're not going to be able to be there, come into the boardroom and sit and actually cast a vote. So a proxy vote is basically you fill out a sheet, and it's just like a Scantron kind of thing, and you fill out whatever your intentions are, what your interests are, okay, and then someone else, all right, is going to make the vote for you on your behalf. And it's not really confusing. You fill out basically a Scantron, we should say, and someone just hands it in. Okay, so they count your vote and they go, all right, this one person with this much shares, with this much interest in the company, thinks this is what we should do. And then we get an aggregate of every single voice that decides to participate. So I guess participation is important if you're going to be in the stock game. Participation. That's right. I have to spell it out. Okay, so participation is incredibly important if you're going to own stocks. All right. And that's really what the proxy vote is. But I do want to emphasize that, because there's no point, especially if you're investing long, there's no point in just letting the chips just fall where they may. Okay, at least participate in the proxy vote, or try to voice your opinion, because that just makes you more active. It makes you more well-rounded. If you're going to participate in the vote, you're probably going to be doing your own investigations and have your own philosophy. You're going to know when the company is doing well and when they're not doing well. You don't want to be blindsided. So, again, it's not as simple as, hey, I bought a couple of shares. No, don't let it end there. It doesn't make any sense. You're just kind of just throwing money away and hoping for the best. Doesn't make any sense. Well, that was pretty cool. I like throwing money away, right? And then okay, so I guess what else I could discuss here would be, oh yeah, oops, that just happened.
Thank you so much for watching. Turning a dream into a reality usually ends up becoming your business. That is why we have the Helping Hands videos. Subscribe, like, and feel free to leave a comment below. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Fans of Kindness, our Facebook page, is also waiting for you. See you in the next video. Until then, be your best and never stop learning.